Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Cobb Extension's Weekly Quick Facts. Continuing that theme of winter weeds, we're going to talk about one of the more common winter weeds here in the South, and that's going to be common chickweed. It's a very prevalent weed here in southern lawns, but there's also a lot of different varieties and there's a lot of other weeds that look very similar. So proper identification can be somewhat difficult with this weed. Now, it is a broadleaf winter annual weed and does have small white flowers that end on the termination of each stem. The stems can be green, but they also, as they mature, have a very beautiful burgundy color tone. And they have pairs of opposite leaves spatially placed all along the stem. Also, to help identify it from other similar looking weeds, it does have hairs on the stem, but they occur only on one side. On the environment that this particular weed grows in, it germinates in cool, wet weather. So right now, like today, where it's wet outside and it's nice and cool, is a perfect time of year for it. It can produce as many as 800 seeds in its lifespan. So even though it's an annual, it can produce a lot of seeds to spread throughout your lawn. It loves moist, poorly drained soil and thrives in low-cut lawns. It also likes compacted soil, high fertility, and shade. And so since it likes high fertility, if you have an ornamental island, let's say a flower bed or an ornamental bed, and it's not mulched appropriately, what can end up happening is you can have those weeds pop up in the bed. Typically, you want to have at least a 3-inch layer of mulch to help reduce weed growth. Now, another fun thing about this particular weed is this is actually not a native weed to the U.S. This is actually a European weed, but it's been naturalized to the U.S. because it's so widespread. It's used commonly as chicken feed and is actually grown in some places as an herb to be used in food and salads. And it's also used as a remedy in treating itchy skin. Now, we do not recommend eating wild-grown plants, regardless of their edibility. So if you see plants like, let's say, muscadines or wild grapes growing on the side of the road, do not eat them. There's a lot of non-point pollution that can be involved there that can make them very unsafe and very unhealthy. So unless you are growing a plant specifically for the very purpose of consumption in a controlled environment, like let's say your backyard vegetable garden, that's okay. But stuff you see it on the side of the road, we do not recommend eating it because there's a lot of health risks that you just may not be aware of. Now, when we talk about control methods for this weed, it's going to be a lot of the similar control methods we've seen with a lot of other weeds. Regular core aeration to reduce soil compaction, increase moisture drainage. Water your lawns appropriately. Increase sunlight if possible. Follow your soil test instructions when it comes to fertilization to not over-fertilize. Now, with this weed, you can physically remove it. It's a shallow-rooted weed, so it's pretty easy to pull out. And also, in the fall, you might want to raise your mowing height to the maximum on your turf grass calendars to reduce its spread in your lawns. Now, there's a lot of effective post-emergent and pre-emergent chemicals available on the market. So for this particular weed, if you're having an issue and you need some additional assistance, please contact our office. We can talk with you about the lawn you have and what chemicals might work best on it. Now, for some resources, definitely check out Georgia Turf. That's UGA's go-to webpage for turf grass information, talking about weeds and turf grass and really almost anything, especially the latest updated research that you can find. We also have our Weed Control in Home Lawns publication, which is also very effective in controlling weeds in your lawns. And Clemson also has a nice publication specifically talking about the history and control methods specifically for common chickweed. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to give us a call and let us know. We are definitely here to help. Thank you all and have a wonderful afternoon.